Ludlow mums did an amazing thing in December last year. They organised a march to defend their rural maternity units and local hospital. The units were being closed at a moment's notice and leaving mums without support. But despite the huge turnout and publicity, no one listened, and the wildcat closures are still happening. Earlier this week, I met with Alison, one of the main campaigners for the Ludlow maternity unit, and her husband Mark. Ironically, Alison herself went into labour on a day when one of those closures happened. The unit that was only 2 minutes away from their house was shut. Mark, her husband, had to act as midwife and deliver their baby daughter. The trained midwife turned up 2 hours after the birth. And luckily things did turn out all right. Baby Amelie is safe and well. But other people may not be so lucky. So the fight to save these vital units is not going to stop. I met with Alison and Mark to find out about their experience.
So this is Amelie Florence, and she was born on Sunday the 7th of May at 11:48 at home, sadly not at Ludlow maternity unit. And for us being on our own with no support, medical support, was very daunting. I didn't realise at the time that Amelie was born that she had the cord wrapped around her neck several times. So that's one thing my husband had to take care of, was to do that and make sure that she was breathing and okay. And when I think back, it's quite a scary thing that had he not have been there, I wouldn't have realised, and things may have been completely different. The paramedics turned up at 11:57, and I think the midwife came at about 1:30, 1:45. She had to travel from Bridge North herself. We would have made Ludlow, even with the quick delivery that we had with Amelie. So we had 2 ambulances with blue flashing lights outside, 5 paramedics and technicians in total, 1 trained midwife and 1 untrained midwife in Daddy. I have no idea how much it costs to call an ambulance out, but I'm pretty sure if you total it up, it would probably cost more than keeping the midwife-led unit open for those 60 hours over the weekend. It beggars belief, really, that they claim to be trying to cut funds, but again, it's going to put extra pressure on the emergency services.
So we've heard about the potential closures to the LMUs, and you know that the next review will be on the minor injuries units. So lots of people are really feeling those cuts through to the NHS, which have come from central government. How do people feel here? How do you feel about the whole of the NHS and your provision here?
We're very blessed to have a community hospital, and I think it's something that Ludlow should have. Every every town needs to have that sort of little hub, and it offers such a wide range of services, and people are very blessed and do feel very blessed that we have a community hospital. It's where sort of our elderly relatives go to recuperate after illness or sort of post-operative care. It's where we take the kids when they've had an accident. It's where our family life starts. It's where people sort of, those that are ill can have dialysis, to sort of to help with their problems. And it's also a big employer in the town. There are a lot of women and men that Mark and I know personally that work there, providing nursing care or maintenance care and things like that. So it's not just the hospital itself, but it's also an employer. And it's what we're going to lose out big time if the whole thing goes. And it just seems to be the plan all along that they're just going to chip away at little pieces now and again and take it all away and say, well, nobody uses it, it costs too much, let's close it, and then flatten it and build houses on it.
I know in Bridge North people are very anxious about if the hospitals would close, and there's quite a lot of anger that should be allowed to happen in our areas. How are people reacting here in Ludlow?
There is an immense amount of anger, especially I think people feel that as they chose to elect Philip Dunn as their representative, and yet they never see him, they never hear from him. He remains very tight-lipped about about sort of NHS, anything that involves the NHS in this area, and there is a lot of anger towards him from local people. I know people that have emailed him, people that have phoned him and have had no response, and they feel very let down. They feel very let down and very disappointed. So
have you heard from Mr. Dunton?
I emailed him last Sunday. I actually emailed him the day that Amelie was born. It was several hours before, but as yet I have to have a response. I've had the sort of standard bounce of thank you for your email, but I've not had a personal response from him.
Our Ludlow constituency in South Shropshire is the largest and most rural in England, yet its rural maternity units are under threat, and its community hospitals are under threat as well. I want you to join me and carry on the fight. Labour will invest over £30 billion extra in funding over the next Parliament, funded through 3 areas. 1, through increasing income tax for the top 5% of earners. 2, increasing tax on private medical insurance. And finally, halving the fees paid to management consultants. Vote for me, Dr. Julia Buckley, and stand up and defend our vital NHS in Ludlow and across Shropshire.